Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lifestyle with Dr. Moby. I'm Dr. Moby, and today we have an excellent guest all the way from Australia. Let's welcome Lillian.
Hey, hello, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you, Lillian. And tell me a little bit about yourself, Lillian, what you do.
Okay, so I'm originally a school teacher, but I've been working for the last 20 plus years as a parenting strategist. I'm the author of 6 books, and the 6 books that I've written and the work that I've been doing with my parenting is all based around my youngest son, who is now 28. He was diagnosed with ADHD, ODD, and childhood depression when he was a young boy. And I now have a huge passion to share our journey with other families and assist them as well.
Mhm. So these are the 5 key areas covered in your book, right?
Yes, correct. In one of my books, yeah.
It's one of, and you have 6 of them, right?
6 books, yeah. This is my favourite book because it's the story of our whole journey from my pregnancy right through until when he was about just before he turned 16. Yeah.
Okay. And that is such a great topic, and I will talk because I do see some of patients with ADHD,
Yes.
and we deal with somebody who has ADHD, and then, I think you have touched the great topic, especially in, how to deal with and
Yes.
what are the things for the parents and kind of living with it. um, I only see one side when they come and we try to solve some of the symptoms. But I think you're doing phenomenal job with somebody trying to get to the bottom of that. So tell me, how did your journey start?
It's a long journey. I'll try and be precise.
Mhm.
So basically, it's a long story. My son was actually born hyperactive. He was aggressive and hyperactive as a young child. And by the time he was, 2, 3 years old, it was quite evident that he was more busy, more hyperactive, more demanding than the average child. I had another son 8 years older, and he was very quiet and easygoing and, compliant and cooperative. And this little boy was just like a whirlwind. And he basically was never happy. As a baby, if he wasn't feeding or sleeping, he was screaming. And by the time he could, communicate and move around, it was very, very evident that we had a real live wire on our hands.
Mhm.
And we had him in childcare from 3.5 years old when I went back to work. And basically nobody could handle him. He got asked to leave centre after centre after centre. We had 5 centres in our town that we lived in then, and he went to all of them because they just couldn't cope with him. He was too aggressive. He was defiant. He was hyperactivity. He was aggressive with the other children, with the staff. And he was just a real handful, and they didn't know what to do with him. And at that stage, neither did we.
Oh, wow. Wow. So, that is a very interesting aspect because, life gives lemon and you make lemonade, or you try to kind of
Yes.
not only learn how to get out of that, but you also try to teach others and you be like yourself. What you're doing is what a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
Kudos and that's a lot of work. I mean, taking care of kid by itself is full time, and take care of somebody who has some disorder is another level. So I think it's a great topic to discuss as well as to learn from it. So tell me a little bit about what things have helped you during your journey.
Well, once again, it's been a long journey. So, Dr. Nobi, initially we started, because to be totally transparent with you, we tried conventional medicine. We went to doctor, pediatrician, psychologist, psychiatrist, counsellors, all of mainstream. And remember, I'm now talking about 25 years ago, so there wasn't as much holistic, viewpoints as there are today. But back then, the only advice that we got from the mainstream medical people was to medicate. And that was definitely something that we did not want to do. We did not want to medicate him. And so we really had to seek our own answers, quite honestly, which was quite challenging at the time. I've always been, very holistic with my health and wellness. So we weren't prepared to take that journey. So we started with food and diet, and that, we got some results. We eliminated, toxins and looked at personal care and chemicals. We looked at self-esteem and self-worth. We looked at nutritional support, and we looked at all of these things. And from age 5 to 12, those aspects that we utilize were working reasonably well. So we still had a little bit of a roller coaster journey, but he was doing okay. Unfortunately, when adolescence hit, the challenges 10x'd. And we then went to a 12, 13, 14-year-old that got kicked out of every school. We had to move 3 schools in 3 years. We took him to an expensive private school, a regular secondary school, like an alternative school. Like they just couldn't handle him. He was just really, really difficult. And we then, it affected our marriage. It affected my relationship with my other son. And we were very, very, very stressed. And we were very, very fortunate, because I really believe in the law of attraction. And I said, help, I need some help. And we met a mentor he became our mentor, who helped us along our journey. And we discovered that aside from all of the things we were already working on, that we really needed to look at our communication, our relationship, the language that we were using, and basically how we interacted with our son. We went from when he was age 14 and I started really becoming concerned about his future. He was in trouble with the police. He was in trouble with substances, taking substances he shouldn't have. He was getting kicked out of school and, getting in all sorts of strife, not getting on with anybody in the family at all. And my husband and I were just beside ourselves, and we started learning to treat him differently. We started learning that it was more about how we relationship with him, because when he was getting in trouble all of the time, what do you think we were focusing on? We was focusing on all the stuff that he was doing wrong. We were giving that energy. We were putting, all of our attention and energy into things he was doing wrong, instead of focusing on his on his successes or his greatness or the things that he was doing well. So when we started switching that around, we started to get really great results. And it was almost like, in 6 months, it was like somebody came from Mars and zoomed down and took our child away and brought a new one in, because we had a complete transformation. And that's why I'm so passionate now about, incorporating that very important component, because a lot of parents work on the health of the child, and are you a medical doctor? What sort of?
Yeah.
So, they work on the health of the child, but really for me, one of the most important things is the relationshiping, the communication, the language, and what we really energize within that relationship.
Yeah. Now, this is a very important topic, because that is well said, that if you focus on the negative, and many parents actually, they go into this mode where they're going to say, oh, that's not correct, that you're doing that wrong.
Okay.
That might cause problem for not only them, but also for kids too, because kids take it very differently. And then if you're absolutely right, if we focus on positive things which they are doing right, then it really changes the discussion. Not only the discussion, they feel that you are not against them, you are with them or somehow. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. We had to become his biggest supporter and fan. Like he had to know that we loved him unconditionally. no matter what was going on, no matter whether he was in trouble at school or getting drunk or hanging out with the wrong kids. You know, like one time, Moby, we had a disagreement, as parents do, and I said, "You're grounded," and he said, "No, I'm not," and he used some choice words, and off he ran, and we couldn't communicate with him. He wasn't answering the phone. Anyway, long story short was about 5 or 6 hours later that evening, we found him in a drunken stupor in the gutter. He didn't even know what his name was. He was so out of it. He'd taken who knows what. He doesn't even know what he'd taken. And he came back. It took him 2 days to sober up, and we started implementing what we were learning in that 2 days. So instead of focusing on why did you do that, what were you taking, you know, all the things that parents would naturally do, we started just focusing on telling him how much we loved him and supporting him, and not focusing on what he'd done, but focusing on moving forward. And that was really the beginning of our healing with him. And I'll have to share a story with you, because when I actually, so this is the book that I'm happy to give away to any of the listeners. This is my favourite book.
Sure.
But when, this is called The Revolting Child, A Blessing in Disguise. When I love this story so much, because when I did a book launch for this book, my son was invited to come along, and he was a little reticent. He wasn't really that keen on coming along, being a 16-year-old, just turned 16. And anyway, my husband and I did our talk. We shared our story, and then we had Q&A at the end. And somebody put their hand up and said, "Can I ask Caleb a question, my son?" And I looked at him, and he's like, "Oh, I suppose so," you know. And anyway, so the person asked the question, and they said, "What was it, Caleb, that took you from where you were just, you know, about 10 months earlier to where you are now?" And we see that, you know, the young man that you are now, we've heard the story, we've heard all of the things that were happening just not so long ago. And my ears were pricking. My ears were, you know, really like, I really wanted to hear the answer to that question as well. And he thought about it for a few seconds, and then he said, "When I saw the effort that my mum and dad went to be the absolute best parents they could be, I just wanted to be the best son I could be."
Wow.
And for me, that was like, you know, like that was just everything, because I'm like, okay, this works. Okay. You know, this works, because he was not going down a good road. He was in trouble with the police, as I said, with alcohol, with drugs, with mixing with the wrong kids. It could have gone a very, very different path. And now at 28, he still lives with us. He's got his partner with us as well. We get on so well as a family. He's a beautiful man. He encourages me. He brings me flowers. He writes me beautiful letters.
Wow.
He's a beautiful, caring man. And I'm so proud of him. He's gone on to own his own business. He got kicked out of school at 15. He had no formal education. He went and, you know, furthered his education on his own. He got an apprenticeship. He became an electrician, and he now has his own business, and he's doing very well. And I could never have seen that, you know, back.
That is such a great sharing. Thank you. So he's doing wonderful right now, and you said he's even didn't complete his education, but he's doing great work as an electrician.
Absolutely. Right? He's got an awesome business, and the reason his business is so successful is because he is so good with people. Like, he gives great customer service, and people, he works with my husband, his dad, so they're in business together. And they just have the most successful business because, and first of all, people are so blown away by their relationship, like how well they've been now working together for 10 years, and their relationship is so solid. They've never had an argument. They've never had a harsh word. They're together for 10 hours a day working together, and they have the most amazing relationship. And my husband and he used to clash like crazy, you know, when he was a teenager, because my husband was so stressed about the situation and how he spoke to his mother and his brother, and like it was really stressful. So to see their relationship now is so beautiful, and it just fills my heart with so much joy. And it really, this is why I'm so passionate about what I do now, because I want other families to be able to experience what took me 20 years to learn. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just want other people to be able to feel that feeling. And I speak to so many families now, so many parents who are stressed, who are, don't know what they're doing. Their kids are not listening. They're not being cooperative. They're being disrespectful, and they don't know what to do other than yell and scream and nag and threat, because that's just what they know, right? So, yeah.
No, this is such an important share. Everybody to know that, like you said, both him and your husband used to have arguments, and then once you realized that it's better to encourage him and to actually see good in him. Then not only it, I think when we have that situation, it brings an important topic, is that, when we have that stressful situation, we make it worse many times.
Yes, correct. Absolutely.
So the situation could be less. So if you minimize that impact, and then it definitely, you can see the path. You can really see where you should be going, and then all you have to do is, then, like you said, thinking that must be a lot of stress for you to see you, your husband, and him fighting. That part was making you very sad, of course, more
very much. And with his older brother, like, his older brother is 8 years older, and he's now a naturopath, herbalist and nutritionist. He did a triple degree, and he's very passionate because he saw his younger brother growing up with all of those challenges. And when he saw, that we took a holistic path, he really wanted to be able to help other families as well. So we actually work together a lot, my son and I, my older son, who's the naturopath. Because I really feel like the parenting work I do is very holistic. So I come in with more of the parenting and relationship type stuff. I actually teach a beautiful parenting philosophy called the Nurtured Heart Approach, which is really about nurturing beautiful heart-centered relationships. And my son covers a lot of the health and wellness type stuff. So together, we have a very unique way to approaching parenting.
Okay, great. And I will show everyone your book again, so this is your book. And it's available on Amazon and everything.
Well, I would love to gift it to any of your listeners. So if you share the link that I've given you here, they can actually click there to, I think it might be scroll up or down, I'm not sure. They can actually click on a link, and they will be emailed the PDF of this book, and they can read it for themselves. Yeah.
This is the link, I think, is...
you can give this link. I think it's up the top further, Dr. Moby, and they can actually just click on the link, and then...
This one?
No, further up, I think. Up. So where you see the picture of this book, there we go.
Yeah.
So they can fill this in here, and then they can receive a free copy of this book. So this is our whole journey from my pregnancy right through until he was nearly 16. And in my pregnancy, there's another bit of a story in here. I used to be a migraine sufferer, and I was taken to hospital with a very bad migraine, and I was given pethidine and Maxilon for that migraine, and I believe that was a contributor for this issue. It was still found in my body 5 years later. So whether it was or not, I don't know, but I feel like that was a contributor. He's always been very chemical sensitive, food sensitive. We had to take him off everything when he was younger, like sugar, wheat, dairy, additives, like food additives. He couldn't eat bread. He couldn't eat anything with food, any sort of colours. He would go absolutely like a ball in a pinball machine. if he consumed any of those things. So he now eats vegan by choice. So he's been vegan for a few years now. I've been vegetarian for like 40 plus years myself. But he chose to be vegan himself. A lot of reason for humanitarian reasons, but he also knows that he feels better when he eats healthy, as do we all, you know.
Yeah. So tell me, do you think you said you got Maxilon and Pethidine? I thought they took off Pethidine now off the market for, but Maxilon. So I think you're absolutely right. A lot of drugs can cause problem like that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So and that is that's important discussion. You know that some of these drugs can have really bad effects all later through the life. So also tell me a little bit about what are your future plans?
With what I'm teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So last week I actually just did a six day intensive course online through the state. So I was doing the night shift from midnight to 10 a.m. every day. And I became accredited to teach the Nurtured Heart approach in 2014. So I've just done my advanced trainers course, which now makes me more qualified to share this beautiful approach with people. So my passion is really to share our story and to teach the Nurtured Heart approach, because the Nurtured Heart approach, although it's not exactly what I use for my son because I didn't know about that back then, but the parenting coach that we met, who was also in America, we never got to meet in person, but we mentored with him for 2 years, and he taught us so much about communicating and relationshiping and what we attract. And the Nurtured Heart approach, I believe I came across because of the law of attraction once again. And it's so much in alignment with my thinking, because it's really about not giving energy to what you don't want, giving beautiful, nurturing, amazing connection and relationship with your kids when they're doing the right thing, or even moving towards doing the right thing, because sometimes very challenging children don't give you so many opportunities to embrace their greatness. So sometimes we have to kind of hijack them a little bit. And it's also about, having clarity and being clear on what you stand for. And but it's all a beautiful, positive, heart-centered approach. So I teach that for the parenting and relationshiping side of things. I also bring my son in, who, talks about gut health, methylation, pyrrole, diet, water, toxins. He covers, and he also covers emotional health and well-being as well. So together, we bring a lot, and we give so much to our clients, because we really want them to enjoy, those beautiful, amazing, nurturing relationships. And I just want, I say to parents, I want you to imagine, the relationship that you have with your children, not just today, but next year, in 10 years, in 20 years, when they have their own children. You want your children to want to be with you because they want to be with you, not because they have to be because you're mum and dad, but because they actually love being with you, and they feel good around you because you have always supported them, and, been, as I said, their biggest supporter and fan, no matter what's going on in their life. No judgment. It's about really just looking for, we call it building their inner wealth. So it's like self-esteem and self-worth, but we build their inner wealth so that they know that they really have greatness within them, that they have this amazing greatness that they can be, do, and have, whatever they desire. But it's got to come from the parents, often. And this is, like, I know when we were going through this, Dr. Moby, we thought, why are you doing this? Like, we all thought it was about him and why he was doing this and why he was misbehaving. But we had to look deep within ourselves. We had to look, our parenting coach actually said to us, if you have a revolting child, then you've got to look at yourself as parents, not as the child. And we're like, wow, okay. We thought we were good parents, and we weren't bad parents. We were just parenting upside down. You know, most parents today are parenting what we call upside down because they're giving energy to all the things they don't want. They're giving energy to the disrespect, the misbehavior, the, you know, lack of cooperation. They're giving energy to the whinging and the you know, the carry on, instead of, you know, focusing on even the baby steps towards, you know, success. Because with some kids who are very intense and very challenging, you've got to take real baby steps, and you've got to build up that inner wealth. And, you know, kids like are you a parent?
No, I am not.
Okay. Yeah, but you probably work with a lot of parents, because as parents, we are our children's favorite toys, you know, and they look for all the buttons that make us, the lights come on and the bells work and they are looking. And unfortunately, most parents, unbeknownst, even though they've got the very best intentions, they teach their children through parenting upside down that you get the best relationship and energy from me when you're doing the wrong thing. I come alive. I'm never too busy to come in and yell and scream and carry on when you're misbehaving. But if you're playing quietly or being cooperative or doing the right thing, you don't get my energy. But you get my energy, my bells and whistles all come on when you're doing the wrong thing. So we're energizing them at the wrong time.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So then all we have to do, I think you showed me the correct way. Not only that, but you use the correct term too, is that we are parenting upside down. So you should be excited when they are playing good and then they are behaving well. You should be commending that. And then, absolutely, makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. So tell me, I think we have reached the end of conversation. Give me your final thoughts on or final message for everybody. I'll again put your book.
I think my final message is to really focus on what you want. Give energy to what you want in your relationship. So if you want cooperation, give energy to them when they're being cooperative. If you want respect, give energy to them when they're being respectful. Even if, like, I don't care how challenging a child is, they cannot misbehave 24/7. There are opportunities where you can find to show them they are successful and they are great. You know, we have to find the times to show them that they're respectful, to show them that they're kind, to show them that they're cooperative, to show them that they're, you know, that they're a great brother or sister. You know, there are so many opportunities that we can. So focus on what you want would be my last message.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming to our show and giving such a wonderful discussion. And it was great learning for myself. And I am going to use some of those tips you have mentioned to my patients, as well as share all over social media for you. Take care and thank you. Stay blessed.
Thank you, Dr. Moby. Lovely chatting. Bye-bye.
Bye.